mining. Now, Ghana is blessed, truly blessed. So many minerals available to us. Unfortunately, the mining of some of them has started to have a negative effect on our environment, and it started conversations that are shaping the future of our nation as we speak. So what should that future look like? How should mining continue to play that all-important role in our economy, in our society, without the negative effects? How can we enjoy the benefits of our minerals without poisoning our children with mercury and other dangerous chemicals? That is the main question on everybody's mind. But we're glad to have with us some people who are perhaps best placed to help us understand the future of mining, how it can be the best for our country. So once again, let's say good morning to Mr. Samuel Torkornoo. He's the Vice President of the Accra Mining Network. Dr. Peter Amponsah-Mensah is the Executive Director of Pamicor Limited, but he's also a Fellow of the Accra Mining Network. We also have here Mr. Alexander Hagan. He's a Technical Services Director and a member of the Accra Mining Network. So, gentlemen, first let's learn a bit about the mining network. How did it come to be, and what exactly is your purpose and function?
Right, thank you for having us, and good morning to your listeners. Basically, Accra Mining Network is made up of individuals, professionals, whoever has something to do with the industry. So it all started about 3 years ago, where people meet and discuss issues relating to mining. I think the first meeting we had it at Kasibu, somewhere or so, and then since then, you know, we grew, and then every quarter we have a kind of a meeting where we invite stakeholders, you know, professionals, and we share issues. So more or less, we are kind of an advocacy group,
right?
Try to highlight the positive aspect of mining. So that is what brought us together about Accra Mining.
Okay, what sort of professionals make up this organization?
Thank you, Kojo, and good morning to my listeners. Accra Mining Network is made up of various professionals. We have geologists, we have mining engineers, we have mining operations, we have those who do logistics, procurement, environmentalists. We just cut across anything that has to do with mining. And anyone who has interest in what mining is about is part of Accra Mining.
Wonderful. All right, so let's talk about the Galamsey menace. And of course, it must have occupied some of your conversation time at the Accra Mining Network. Am I right?
So, thank you, Kojo. And I say hello to all your cherished listeners. Yes, Galamsey has had a lot of conversation at our discussions at the network. But before I get into Galamsey, I want us to look at the positive aspects of mining.
Sure.
And if you consider, since 2005 to 2015, mining was gradually, all indicators in the mining industry was looking south. So people were not very much interested in mining, and what people were doing at that time was just to focus on the small-scale mining, which was giving them some money, because over that period, there was a lot of retrenchment. And people with the expertise to do mining went back to the land to do small-scale mining. And most of them didn't know even how to get the license, and therefore just took advantage of what they knew and started digging anywhere. But in the last 3 quarters, for instance, mining, especially with the gold price looking north, has brought in a lot of more projects into the country. So mining now looks more interesting. But if you look at what the last quarter of the quarry and mining sector did, it was a negative 10%, which tells you that the effects of the past has now just hit us. But now we are going to rise. So it's interesting. Mining is interesting. It forms a very good growth pool, especially affecting the secondary and tertiary value chain end of mining. Those are the key things that we must look at. And if you look at the contributions of mining in terms of our foreign exchange earnings, it is quite significant.
Yeah.
So it's important that we look at mining as a very important aspect in our economy, though it has some challenges. And I think in the whole discussion, before I get to Galamsey, which is of interest to everybody, I want us to look at first power. The mining industry depends much on power. If you look at even the problems we are having with Netco in the north, you realize that if you are able to bring in Newmont into the Netco bracket, it's going to supplement the Netco's financial situations in the north. So mining basically is very important. Let us again look at what we have to do with power to bring, help mining companies. Over the last 3 years or so, power has not been very, very good in this country. But in the last quarters, I think it's stabilized. We are not out of the woods yet. What we need to do is to get a good generation mix that will bring the power costs down. I mean, if we're getting power per kilowatt about 17 to 19 cents per kilowatt hour, and while Ivory Coast we can bring in power at 11 cents per kilowatt hour, it tells you that other areas will compete for investment in the mining area. So it's important that we look at all these things and bring power into perspective. And I think so far it's so good. Yesterday, the president cutting the salt for another 350 megawatts of power. It's in good direction. We hope we get the generation mix right and the power cost comes down. Again, in terms of the mining industry, the challenges that we have again goes back to our laws. The reason why we are having Galamsey, one of the reasons is that the laws were not, regulatory bodies were not quick enough to come up with laws faster than the changes in technology and the interest of people to have the economies of scale. So straight away, we have a structural gap in policy. I think that will have to be addressed. Once that is addressed, we can then move forward to certain mining in its better perspective. We need also to understand that because of the change, mining companies have really, the registered mining companies, known mining companies, have really sought to invest in our economy. I mean, Anglo Gold Ashanti is prepared to come back into our economy, having gone through a short issue. We have Asanko Mine, having invested about $295 million in our economy last 2 years, is prepared to spend another $300 million in our economy in the second phase. It tells you that the price of gold is really pushing people to come back into our economy. We have Golden Star also investing in the underground potential of their mine. It tells you the changes that our economy is going to have, and all these investments are going to have impact on the people who the immediate environs of the mine. And because they are doing certain things right, we need to learn so that we can push that down the value chain. The value chain. So those are the important things that we have to look at.
Okay, let's talk a little bit more about regulation. You make a point about how important it is. I wonder how fit for purpose the regulatory environment of Ghana is. I ask this because we recently discovered that for the past God knows how many years, all of the licenses that have been issued to legal small-scale mining companies are actually unconstitutional because they were not ratified by Parliament. Okay, Minerals Commission has just been giving out these licenses and they are all basically void. And then we heard about the minister traveling around the country, meeting people, sleeping and drinking on the job. You know, it makes me wonder, do we actually have a system when the government keeps talking about, encouraging mining by letting people become regularized so that they can be regulated? Is that a pipe dream? Can we really regulate small-scale mining? Do we have the ability to do so?
Yes. To just answer your last question first, we have the ability to do so. And we need honest technocrats to drive this agenda. We have all the technocrats. We need honest and responsible technocrats to drive the agenda. And I think that is what we have to look at. We can regulate the system. And we need to look at the various policies that play into the mining industry. For instance, I believe, I am of the view, that we need a social license in mining. Social license deals with the people who are affected by our operations,
right?
Be it the large scale or the small scale artisanal. If we do not have that confidence from our stakeholders, we are lost. So what are the laws in place to bring us get at that social license? What are the police act? How does it stand? How do we hold the security services accountable? Because at the end of the day, any report we make ends at the doorstep of the security. No matter what the monitoring you do, it ends at the doorstep. So we may have to go back to the Security Act and make the security persons in those various localities responsible personally, so that if, for instance, we find a defect in that area, not reported or acted on timelessly, then we can hold you accountable, investigate, and if the law allows, you're fired. I mean, we have a principle in place that people know that it will hit their pocket. I'm telling you, they are going to make sure they work. And those are the sort of things. Well, the whole idea is, in Ghana, we have a gamut of regulations, which basically, if put together, would work. But we need the people who would make them work.
So, I mean,
I want to buttress what he just said. As Hirai said, we have the regulation there. We have the regulatory bodies who could make this thing work. But what is happening, it looks as if they work in isolation. But to really bite, you need all these forces putting their energy together. We have the EPA coming on board, supporting the Minerals Commission. We have the Forestry coming in. We have even the Land Commission coming in, the Water Commission. These are all bodies who are entities on their own, and they have the powers to enforce it. But the challenge is that the issue gets to them, they pass it on to the security for apparatus as they may be to act on it. But that is where we have the challenge. It's not being enforced. So we want all these institutions coming together and then make those policies that we have work. You know, if something is not right, it's not right. We need to make it work. And this is where we agree totally with the minister's position. And I think we, the professionals, would like to put our weight behind it and make that sure that
now
it works.
you are, like you said, the professional, the practitioner.
Yes.
Tell me, how have these small-scale miners reacted to this revelation that actually they've been illegal all along? And what has been the roadmap for getting them to hopefully get back to their legal business, if possible?
Thank you, Kojo. Before I touch on the Galamseys, I'll just try to give a scope on mining itself.
Sure.
Almost everything that we use is dependent on mining. But due to not much education, some see it only mining is to be gold, diamond, and others. We have sand winning, we have quarrying, we have even salt. They are all part of mining. Now the question is, why is it that countries like Australia, South Africa, US, Canada could be doing the same mining and they are not faced with this menace? It means that the problem is not the mining.
It's
the problem is the regulation and the people involved.
Right.
Now, for us, our portion, what we want to do is to bring the positive side of mining, at the same time encourage all the regulatory bodies to be able to make sure that they implement the laws as it is. Galamsey is a big menace, but we probably looking at it in isolation. We have issue with armed robbery.
Yeah.
We have issue with illegal possession of lands. It's all because Ghana has problem with laws and regulations. And so if you look, Galamsey, only in the perspective of mining, we are only trying to solve a problem without going to the roots. Ghanaians, we need to let the law work.
Okay, so is that the solution?
No, not only that. We can have some more to it. Basically, we at the last presentation, at the quarterly presentation, one of the things we said was we put up a short-term and a medium-term sort of suggestions that could help. And I think the minister has basically started implementing some of them. And we said that there must be a ban on the issuance of license and renewal of alluvial mining licenses, which I think has been done. And one of the things that we said was to suspend all activities of and I use that advisedly.
Right.
All activities of small-scale mining for a reasonable period to allow the rejuvenation of river bodies, water bodies. That was what we said, to allow for the settlement and the rejuvenation of water bodies. And when that is done, we have to conduct a baseline study of our water bodies to look at the technical and physiological analysis, and then the total dissolved suspensions and everything in that process. And again, we said, while we've suspended that, we go in and conduct an operational and environmental audit of all licensed small-scale mines. In the same period, we also say that the regulations will be reviewed and addressed, so that at least it becomes more potent in solving the issues and challenges we have. And then one of the things that we said that we should look at anti-corruption and law enforcement acts, regulations. And one of the areas that we think has to be looked at carefully, because it's the Chieftaincy Act and then the Police Services Act, because those two groups play a very important role in the control of Galamsey in their areas.
This seems like a great roadmap. Is the government engaging with you?
We have started talking to them. I mean, one of the things, that's why we are here as well. One of the things is to let people understand that there's a roadmap, and then we can have a chat with government so that we can put this plan along.
Right. We need to talk more about this. There's no doubt about it. So we'll try and rearrange a conversation so that at another day, perhaps next week, we can bring you in and we can explore this even further and talk about all the things that the Accra Mining Network is able to contribute to this. Unfortunately, our time is totally up right now.
One of the things that we also anticipate and we think has to be done, and it's important that we bring that up, is to really look at the district mining committees.
Right.
Apparently, everything in the area of monitoring has been delegated to the district mining committees, and they are not working.
Right.
So if they should work, and then to also, because your time is up, I'll just launch into the medium term. The medium term is to look at how we can restructure the Minerals Commission and then Ghana Geological Survey, so that we can get some more positive.
Part 2 of this conversation must happen next week. But for now, I want to say a massive thank you to all of you.